Welcome to episode Palenque. Last month, my nephew Kyler visited me from Arizona, and we went on an adventure to Palenque. Now, Palenque is about 6 hours away from where we live in Tuxtla Gutierrez, so we took a bus there and got very excited to see the Mayan ruins. Here we've arrived at our little hotel in Kinbalam Palenque, and it's kind of late at night here, but this is our patio. And if we go inside, this is our hotel, and the bed is a lot bigger than we were expecting. It's like a huge king size bed, so plenty of space. Got the fan going, and we're out in the jungle. And here we are the next day outside of our Kimbalang Palenque where we're staying, and we're getting ready to see the Mayan ruins. We're just waiting for our tour bus. This is a map of Palenque, and with our tour guide, we're going to be exploring some of the main sites today. Here's our tour guide, and she did a great job navigating. We had a group with some English speakers, some French speakers, some Spanish speakers, and she hopped back and forth between Spanish and English. And here is a wonderful picture of a beautiful flower, just as we were coming into this main area with the ruins. Okay, here we are coming up on the ruins.
This is Palenque. Look at the jungle, guys. It's beautiful. Have you been in other Maya? Maybe Chichen? Sí. Very different. More new. Uh-huh.
And in this area, we have the tomb of one of the city's main leaders, Pakal. And the leaders during these times were considered to be like gods, and they actually adorned themselves and modified certain body parts to distinguish themselves from the normal population. And it was considered an honor at the time that they died. They were sacrificing themselves to the gods, and there was quite a ceremony around it. And here we have preserved the tomb. We couldn't go inside and see it, but we could look at it from the outside. Next, we're taking a look at the Temple of Inscripciones, inscriptions. And these are basically three large limestone tablets that decorate the central room. And we were not allowed to go and see them because they were being very protected at this time. But basically, they contain the largest Mayan glyphic text found to date. And the text refers to the life and death of the great ruler Pakal II and the enthronement of his successor. And also some of his ancestors are mentioned. The text also mentions events in the remote past and future and has alluded to events that were as far back as 1 million years ago and also events 4,000 years ahead, after death, AD. As you can see here, we're in the middle of the jungle, and our tour guide made note a couple of times of the ceiba tree, which you see here, and these trees can live 100 years and more. And they were particularly important for the Mayan people because they symbolized the axis between the underworld and the terrestrial world. Now we're coming into an area with an open field and several houses of worship. And there were different ones, one to the god of corn, another to the god of land, another to the god of earth, and to the god of the underworld. And these represented the sky, the earth, the underworld. The main reasons for the decline of the Mayan civilization around 900 AD were environmental, and the environmental problems led to political problems, as you can imagine. The Mayans were clearing a lot of trees to burn for their building materials, as well as to create fields to grow corn. So this led to deforestation as well as drought, and then political problems along with that. And according to NASA scientists, the temperature went up as a result by 2 or 3 degrees. Here we have some information about the typical layout or design of a temple. And we saw many of these temples in the field that we were just walking through. About halfway into our visit, we stopped and looked at some beautiful handcrafted artwork by the Mayan people who still live near these ruins and are ancestors of the Mayan people. And it's interesting, we took a look at this tapestry, and they sold these in all different sizes. And the standard interpretation is that it is representing or it is portraying a tomb, and how they constructed these tombs elaborately to represent the birth of the human being from the underworld. And that is typically what is interpreted in this scene. But other people who are maybe looking for a different interpretation, a more creative interpretation, if you flip the tapestry horizontally, you could say that this Mayan person or god, if he or she is a godly ruler, is actually on a spaceship. And in fact, many people, when they first started uncovering the remnants of the civilization and seeing the altered physiology and the customs of the people, they said, where do these people come from? Could they be aliens? Anyhow, take whichever interpretation you like. The Mayans actually developed an aqueduct system, a drainage system, and they took this river here and they covered it. And eventually, the covering did collapse. It was a stone covering, but it was a pretty ingenious solution for the time period. Coming up here, our tour guide is going to explain a very dangerous sport that the Mayans engaged in. And the winner actually got the reward of sacrificing themselves to the gods. And this was a very dangerous sport, as she is about to describe.
And was very dangerous because they elaborate the ball. Look at the ball game. In Palenque is very small, too small mountain. And they elaborate the ball with rubbers, you know the savvy of the tree? But the ball weighs 4 kilos. Can you imagine? Very heavy. Well, archaeologists explain they need to move the ball, very difficult, because they use it only shoulder.
At this point, our tour guide set us loose to explore for the next 45 minutes. So here I am in front of the map, and we're getting ready to venture out. This is a set of 5 buildings surrounding a courtyard. It was a residential area. And they had bathing areas here, steam baths.
I'm sure this was like the architects and such, like the people who had skilled labor rather than just like farmers and such.
You can hear the sound of the waterfall right near us. And this is a grupo de los murciélagos.
Oh, here's another
Temples and tombs. And this informational post here makes reference to the late classical period, which was 770 to 850 AD, and talks about how the steam baths were built during this period. On our way out, we saw some magnificently tall trees and decided to get our photos taken in front of them. And up and up and up.
Whoa.
Waterfalls at the base of the Mayan city. The bridge is a little bouncy, that's why the video is bouncing.